Hi everyone, this is Dr. Vikas once again. Before I made this video, I did a lot of research and it's a very important video considering the situation nowadays. I'm going to give you 6 very easy tips to follow to make sure your immunity stays the best. So please watch this video right to the end. So first of all, what is immunity? What comprises immunity? So what happens is that we have germs attacking us all the while, and as long as we're alive, we keep fighting back those germs. We have many layers of defense to fight those germs, and I've described these layers one by one. The first and the most important layer is our skin. So the external skin, as we see, and the internal skin. So we have this epithelial tissue or the skin right running through our esophagus or mouth or lungs or stomach or intestines, etc., etc. So the germs, when they go through a mouth or through a nasal cavity, and they try to enter a body, so that they have to encounter the skin. The skin has a mucosal layer which traps and kills those germs to a large extent. Suppose some of them cross that mucosal layer and enter the skin, then we have a lymphatic layer to take care of the germs which have gotten through. Just like you have a fence and some infiltrators get through the fence, and then there's a defense, the army to take care of them, the border security force or whatever you may call them. So we produce about 1.5 liters of mucus every day, which is quite a lot, and this mucus helps us fight the germs. But the most important thing is that the vitamin required to keep this mucosal layer healthy is vitamin A. Make sure that you have ample vitamin A in your diet. Here are some of the sources of vitamin A listed on the screen. You can choose the source that suits the best. The second most important defense is our large intestine. So what happens? A large intestine is full of bacteria. Friendly bacteria, 99% is friendly bacteria, but 1% is bad bacteria. And the friendly bacteria is very friendly in the sense it behaves like our own cells. So they manufacture different vitamins for us, and they also fight the germs that enter our body by killing them. So one of the most important bacteria in our gut is lactobacillus, which releases lactic acid to fight and kill those bad germs. The gut microbiome is 70% of immunity. So it is that important. So eating healthy food. Also, you got to consume a lot of fruits and veggies and prebiotic and probiotic food to make sure that your gut microbiome stays healthy. Before I move ahead to the next organs of immunity, let me first explain what is innate and acquired or adaptive immunity. So innate immunity is that immunity that we had at the time of birth, and the acquired immunity is one that we acquired as we went along by being exposed to various germs and infections. So when a child is born, he has this innate immunity or the immunity that he's born with from his mother or his or her mother. It helps him fight infections and stuff for the next 3-4 months till the time he learns how to fight germs. So our innate immunity consists of macrophages, neutrophils, and natural killing cells. So macrophages, neutrophils, and natural killing cells are those cells which attack and kill the enemy germs and viruses. It doesn't require any training or learning. It is there right from birth, and it knows its job. Now let's come to adaptive immunity. Adaptive immunity is that immunity which comprises of B cells and T cells. So B cells are those cells which are made in the bone marrow. That's why it's called B. B is for bone marrow. And they are produced in the bone marrow, but they come and mature in the spleen. Spleen is an organ right next to our left side of our stomach. It actually touches the stomach. So a lot of people who overeat tend to compress their spleen a little bit because their stomachs are too full, and reduces the function of the spleen. So what spleen does is, apart from storing about a cup of blood for emergency use, it matures the B cells, and B cells have capability of producing antibodies. So what it does is, when it faces antigens, when it faces the germs, it learns how to fight those germs by producing a certain kind of antibody, and the body remembers as many as hundreds of millions of types of antibodies against different germs. So that is the kind of memory we have in our B cells. So B cells store this information, and when this attack happens again, the B cells know what kind of antibody to produce and to fight these germs. Some people say that this memory is not lifelong. Some people say it's lifelong. It's a debate going on. But we know that for some illnesses, this memory is lifelong, and for some illnesses, it is not. And then we need to retrain it. So that is the reason we get vaccines and all that. So what vaccines do is, when we get vaccinated, the vaccine is kind of a dead germ or a protein from the germ, and it mimics a germ. So body immediately responds to that, and they produce antibodies to fight that particular germ. So if the production of a B cells is impaired for whatever reason, then we'll not be producing enough antibodies, and then this entire vaccine scenario is not going to work very well for us. So what do we need to do to make sure that the spleen is working well? So one thing the spleen hates is it hates cold. So it hates cold food and cold in general. So if we consume things which are cold in nature or cold, for example, ice creams or soft drinks or soda, like we say, or milkshakes and stuff like that, which has ice in it, that is not something that the spleen loves. As a corollary to that, the spleen loves something which is warm in nature or warm. So, for example, if we have hot drinks, our spleen loves that. And even keeping yourself warm, for example, if you don't expose yourself to too much cold, that is also good. Air conditioning is not good for the spleen. Air conditioning will impair your spleen function. That is the reason they say that when you're not feeling well, keep warm. Intermittent fasting is very important to keep the spleen, functioning well. So when we do intermittent fasting, we give spleen some room to operate. So one of the things that which impairs our spleen function drastically is stress, or I would say cortisol. So when there is cortisol, what cortisol does is it's a stress hormone which is secreted from the adrenal gland right above the kidneys. So when this cortisol is injected in the blood, it raises the sugar level of the blood because the body thinks that it's time to now fight and we need instant energy. So it releases sugar in the blood, and this sugar impairs the function of the spleen. So the way our body reacts is that when it finds sugar in the blood, the fighter cells, the T cells, B cells and all that, they think that this is some kind of a foreign body which is invading us, and they forget fighting the germs and they go start fighting the sugar molecules. The germs now have a free play and they can do whatever they want. So basically, the availability of these fighter cells reduces the moment there's sugar in the blood or there's cortisol in the blood, because cortisol will automatically increase the sugar in the blood. And cortisol is caused by stress. So stress or sugar intake is kind of equated here, and both are very bad for immunity. Like I said, the B cells are produced in the bone marrow and they migrate to the spleen for maturity. But bone marrow, so what makes your bone healthy? We all know that one of the most important nutrients to keep the bones healthy is vitamin D. So if you have, scarcity of vitamin D in the body, and your immunity is going to be impaired. So how do you make sure that your vitamin D is adequate? Please watch my last video. I spoke about it. And if the bone marrow functions optimally, then your B cells are going to be produced optimally and your spleen is going to work healthily. So vitamin D is a very important vitamin for immunity. I was talking about the acquired immunity. So acquired immunities consist of B cells and T cells. T cells are those cells which are produced in the, I would say not produced, matured in the thymus gland. Thymus gland is somewhere here in the chest. So there are three kinds of T cells. There's T cells, the T lymphocyte, and then there's the T helper cell, and the T regulatory cell, the Tregs. So the T cells kill the viruses and the bacteria that attack us. T helper cells tell or tag the viruses or bacteria that attack us and ask the T cells to kill them. And the T regulatory cells is the one which puts out the fire. So if there's too much of cytokines, too much of fighting happening, this germ fighting happening. So Tregs tell, okay, now the fight is over, the germs are gone, please cool down. So or shut off the immunity temporarily or turn it down. So basically, your T regulatory cells are governed by the amount of vitamin D you consume in the body. And vitamin D also takes care of autoimmune diseases, because most of the people who have autoimmune conditions are those where the T regulatory cells are not working properly, and the body does not know when to turn off the immunity, and the immunity works overtime and it kind of starts attacking your own cells, etc., etc. So vitamin D is very important for any kind of autoimmune disease listed here. And countries where people keep themselves covered, their heads covered and their arms covered totally, they normally have a lot of vitamin D deficiency. So make sure that you get enough exposure to the sun for vitamin D. Also, the function of thymus gland depends on the amount of zinc in the body, zinc and vitamin C and vitamin D. So when a child is born, the thymus gland is huge in size. As you grow older, it keeps shrinking. And by the time you're in 50s, 60s, it's almost gone, right? So, but if you have scarcity of zinc in the body, it will go even sooner. If you have enough zinc in the body and vitamin C, vitamin D, it will stay longer and will help in the immune function much longer. So zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D are very important, nutrients to make sure your thymus gland is functioning optimally. So in our traditional food, we had a lot of til laddus, sesame laddus. They were full of zinc. Sesame is full of zinc. Giloy powder, which is an Indian herb, is one of the highest concentrations of zinc. Vitamin C, how do we get vitamin C? So vitamin C, There is one way of taking vitamin C through a pill, which is nothing but ascorbic acid. But ascorbic acid is not the complete vitamin C. To get the complete vitamin C, it's a compound. It's not just ascorbic acid. So take natural sources like, there's a lot of vitamin C in Indian gooseberry or amla. There's a lot of vitamin C in citrus fruits, in guava, and so many other vegetables. We have a lymphatic system in our body, and we have lymph nodes in various places. And this is the place where the B cells and T cells are stored. It is just a static system. It doesn't circulate. And just like the blood system, which is the circulatory system, the only way you can make the lymphatic system circulate is by doing mild exercise. So when we move around, when we do something, the lymphatic system gets active, and a little circulation happens in there to make sure that it stays alert and stays active. So another way to enhance the function of your lymph system is fasting. When I say fast, it doesn't mean you fast for weeks and weeks. Fasting is good for as long as a day or two. Not more than that. If you want to do a longer fast, you better be on some kind of fruit, or right now Navratri is going on, and Navratri says that macronutrient-free diet. The three macronutrients: protein, fat, and carbohydrates. And you can consume fruits and vegetables which don't have a lot of these macronutrients. So it will give a lot of rest to your body, as good as fasting, and your system rejuvenates. So your spleen function, your liver function, your lymphatic gland function, your gut microbiome, everything improves when you fast. One of the things that totally destroys the gut microbiome is antibiotics. So when we consume antibiotics, and it takes years, 2, 3, 4 years for it to come back again. For those people who are on antibiotics on a regular basis, or who consume a lot of antibiotics, please be aware that it is one of the biggest reasons why people are falling sick, because the immune system is getting impaired. So take antibiotic only as a life-saving drug and not on a regular basis for even small ailments. This is not medical advice, so this is my disclaimer that this video is not medical advice. It is just my research which I'm sharing. So if you are on any kind of medication, please consult your respective physicians and doctors before you make any changes in your diet or your medication. I'm not a doctor, and I am not professing that this is medical advice. So in summary, what are the 6 things? What are the 6 things one can do to make sure that your immunity is at the best? Number 1 is no sugar or low sugar diet. Eliminate sugar and carbs basically. So carbs include white flour, maida, bread, pasta, cakes, pastries, etc., etc. Second, fasting is one of the best ways to increase your immune function, because it will help you in the autoimmune condition if you have any. I have listed it as number 2. After eliminating sugar, fasting is the second most important thing. The third most important factor is by reducing stress. So, and how do you reduce stress? So you can reduce stress by doing pranayama, which is yogic breathing exercises, or you can do it by doing meditation. Reduce stress by doing mild exercises. In terms of nutrition, you have to take care of vitamin D, the most important vitamin for immunity. Your vitamin C, which is also a very important vitamin for immunity. Make sure you get them from natural sources and not from pills and tablets. Zinc is very important. There are so many foods which are high in zinc. Also, you've got to consume a lot of fruits and veggies and prebiotic and probiotic food to make sure that your gut microbiome stays healthy. If anybody is giving you tips on, have this tea, have this kara, have this thing, have that thing, just make sure that it has these 4 components in their list of nutrients, because these are the 4 most important components of your immunity. And like I said, your spleen hates the cold. A lot of your immune cells hate cold. So stay warm, consume warm things. One last thing is that one of the major important factors in your human growth hormone release is good night's sleep. So if you don't have a good night's sleep, your immune system is not going to revive, your immune system won't get rest. So getting a good night's sleep is very, very important. The light keeps us awake by decreasing the amount of melatonin in our body. As a matter of fact, melatonin, which is a sleep hormone, and cortisol, which is a stress hormone, they counter each other. When there's more melatonin in the body, the cortisol goes down. When there's more cortisol, the melatonin goes down. So any kind of stress will increase the cortisol and reduce the melatonin, won't let you sleep. So these are the 6 things one can do for boosting immunity. I hope this is comprehensive. This is a very important video in the current situation. And please like this video. I made this video with a lot of research, and I hope you find this useful. And please share it with somebody, your friends and family who might need this. And I'll see you again in the video very shortly. You have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.